There was a man who ruled the greatest empire the world had ever known, but every night he faced a war no army could win. His name was Marcus Aurelius, and though history remembers him as emperor, philosopher, and general, he remembered himself as a student of the mind. He once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line was not written for scholars. It was written for soldiers, for the tired, for those who wake up every morning feeling the weight of the world pressing against their ribs, because the greatest war ever fought was never on a battlefield. It was and always will be the war within. Look around you. The world roars with noise, opinions, conflicts, temptations. Every day something begs for your reaction, a message, a betrayal, a disappointment. The modern world has no swords, but it cuts just as deep. Most people spend their lives reacting, emotional puppets pulled by invisible strings. One comment ruins their day. One misunderstanding becomes a storm. One person's behavior decides their peace. But what if that peace was never theirs to lose? Marcus taught that calm is strength, not the fragile kind that shatters under pressure, but the rooted kind that grows deeper the harder the wind blows. Real calm is not pretending nothing can touch you. It's knowing that whatever does, you can face it, without surrendering your clarity. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom is not doing whatever you wish. It's being unshaken by what you cannot control. Imagine him, the emperor of Rome, alone at his desk while the empire slept. No audience, no glory, only the scratching of ink and the voice within saying, "Be still, be better, be kind." He was surrounded by chaos, wars, plagues, betrayal, yet his words breathe peace. Because he understood what most still do not. The mind is a kingdom greater than any empire. The Stoics believed that we suffer not from the world itself, but from the judgments we place upon it. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that. How many times have you replayed a conversation in your head until it burned like fire? How many nights have you battled an enemy that existed only in thought? The Stoics called this the madness of assumption, the chaos born from believing every feeling is truth, every thought is fact. But when you learn to step back, to pause between what happens and how you respond, you take back the throne of your mind. That pause, that single heartbeat of awareness, is where your freedom lives. The Stoics practiced this daily. When anger rose, they breathed. When loss came, they asked, "Was this ever mine to keep?" When insult struck, they said, "This is not about me, it is about them." Every emotion became a teacher, every obstacle a mirror, and so must it be for you. When the world offends you, pause. When people test your patience, pause. When your plans fall apart, pause. Because the moment you pause, you become the author of what happens next. Marcus called this the discipline of perception. To see clearly before reacting blindly. To meet chaos not with panic, but with presence. The ancient world has vanished, but the battle of the mind remains. Every day you step into it, from the moment you wake to the moment you sleep. The enemies are not soldiers, but thoughts, fear, pride, resentment, desire. They wait for you to forget who you are. But if you remember, if you carry the words of the Stoics like armor, you will not lose. You will walk through storms with stillness in your chest. You will listen more, speak less, and act from reason, not reaction. This is how empires are built, not with conquest, but with composure. This is where true strength begins, not in muscle, not in might, but in mastery of the self. The greatest war ever fought is still being fought, inside you. But if you learn to rule your mind, you will already have conquered the world. A single drop of rain falls into a pool, ripples widen. The echo of a heartbeat joins the sound, slow, deliberate. Then silence. The Stoics believed that emotion is not the enemy. It is the untrained soldier of the soul. Left unchecked, it rebels. Disciplined, it becomes your ally. Anger, fear, jealousy, pride. These are the forces that test your command. They are not meant to be killed, but governed. Seneca once wrote, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Think of that. It is not the insult that destroys your peace. It is your reaction to it. It is not betrayal that poisons your heart. It is the story you repeat about it. We live in an age where outrage is currency. Everyone wants to be right, to be loud, to be heard. But strength is not in shouting. It's in staying centered when the world pushes every button you have. There is more courage in a calm response than in 1,000 arguments. Picture Marcus Aurelius walking through the Senate after being slandered, betrayed by those closest to him. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. That was not weakness. That was control. Because Marcus knew what few understand. Every time you react in anger, you hand your power to the one who provoked you. The discipline of emotion begins not with suppression, but awareness. Before the flame becomes a fire, notice the spark. When your jaw tightens, when your breath shortens, that is your moment of choice. In that space, between the spark and the burn, lies your freedom. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Stoic never denies emotion, he examines it. He asks, what belief just got threatened? What expectation was I holding? Because anger often hides pain, and pain, when understood, becomes wisdom. There is also power in silence. In a world addicted to immediate replies, silence is rebellion. It is saying, you cannot pull me into your storm. Silence gives your wisdom time to arrive. It separates ego from truth. It turns reaction into reflection. Plato said, "A wise man speaks because he has something to say. A fool, because he has to say something. Learn to wait. Let the moment breathe. Silence almost never hurts you, but words spoken in anger echo forever." This is not passivity. This is power under control. The tiger does not prove its strength by roaring. It proves it by restraint. Sometimes the most stoic move isn't silence or logic. It's laughter. Laughter disarms the absurd. It says, I see the chaos, but it will not own me. When life throws nonsense your way, a rude comment, a broken plan, a selfish act, smile. Not because it's funny, but because it's fleeting. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Change the estimate, and you change everything. You can make emotional mastery a game. Count how many times today you could have reacted and didn't. Each restraint, each breath, each moment of pause. That's a victory. That's self-rule." The Stoics called it apatheia, not apathy, but inner calm untouched by outside storms. The goal is not to feel less, but to understand more, to notice the emotion and still choose your response. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Every unexamined reaction is a thread pulling you like a puppet, but awareness cuts the strings. You will be tested. Someone will insult you. Someone will betray you. Someone will misunderstand you. That's life. That's humanity. But how you meet those moments, that's philosophy in motion. The Stoic breathes, steps back, observes, and answers with clarity, not chaos. He turns every challenge into training. Every time you remain calm under pressure, you're proving that mastery is possible. Every moment of restraint is a quiet declaration. I am not owned by my emotions. So the next time you feel the fire rise in your chest, remember, anger is easy. Control is rare. Anyone can strike, but only the disciplined can stand still. True strength is not in dominating others. It's in dominating yourself. That's what Marcus, Seneca, and Epictetus spent their lives teaching, that the mind, once trained, becomes a fortress, and inside that fortress, nothing outside, no insult, no failure, no chaos, can break your peace. A soft breeze through pine trees, the faint crackle of a fire. Dawn breaks over a misty mountain ridge. The world rarely behaves the way we want it to. People forget promises. Plans fall apart. The universe, vast, indifferent, unstoppable, keeps moving whether we approve or not. The Stoics didn't fight this truth. They accepted it, and in that acceptance, they found peace. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." He called that the dividing line between freedom and frustration, because most of our suffering begins when we demand that reality obey our expectations. You expected loyalty and got disappointment. You expected understanding and met silence. You expected fairness and found chaos. The pain isn't just what happened. It's the gap between what is and what you thought should be. That gap is where anger lives. That gap is where despair begins. But the Stoics taught something radical. That peace is found not by shrinking the world to fit your desires, but by expanding your mind to fit the world. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it," meaning it's not the event that hurts. It's the meaning you give it, so change the meaning. See it differently. You can't always control the storm, but you can choose the window you look through. A flat tire isn't a disaster. It's a pause. A rejection isn't humiliation. It's redirection. Loss isn't the end. It's the beginning of understanding what truly matters. This shift, this ability to reinterpret reality, is what made Stoicism unstoppable. It turned tragedy into training. It turned hardship into strength. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He understood that most of our pain is self-inflicted, born from the stories we tell ourselves about what happened. The mind, untrained, is a cruel storyteller. It makes monsters out of shadows, betrayals out of misunderstandings. But a disciplined mind, a stoic mind, rewrites the story. There's a strange power in laughter, not the careless kind, but the knowing kind. The laugh that says, "Ah, there it is again. Life doing what life does." Laughter is a pressure valve for the soul. It reminds you that not everything deserves your outrage, that sometimes the most stoic response isn't silence or strength, it's lightness. Marcus faced war, disease, betrayal, and still wrote about gratitude, still spoke of kindness, still reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Imagine that, every obstacle, every insult, every failure, becoming the fuel for your growth. That's not denial. That's transformation. Perspective is a lens you polish daily. Without it, life looks harsh and cruel. With it, everything becomes a teacher. Someone disrespects you. They reveal your attachment to ego. Someone leaves you. They reveal your dependence on approval. A door closes. It reveals how tightly you've been clinging to control. When you see through this lens, even pain becomes purposeful. It's not life against you. It's life shaping you. The Stoics practiced this through visualization. Every morning, Marcus imagined loss, his fortune, his power, even the people he loved. Not out of pessimism, but out of preparation. So that when life took something away, he could say, "I knew this was possible and I am still whole." That's perspective. It's not cold detachment. It's warm awareness. It's looking at the world with clear eyes and an open heart. Plato said, "Reality is created by the mind." We can change our reality by changing our mind. And that is the essence of Stoic vision. Don't change the world. Change the way you see it. So when the world seems cruel, pause. When everything falls apart, breathe. Ask yourself, what else could this mean? What lesson hides here? Because everything, even the unbearable, holds wisdom, if you're patient enough to look. And when you can smile at what once destroyed you, when you can thank the storm that taught you to stand still, then you are no longer merely surviving. You are transcending. Perspective is not about pretending life is good. It's about remembering that even in darkness, there is depth. Even in pain, there is purpose. And even when you lose what you wanted, you may find what you needed. That is the art of perspective. That is the lens through which the Stoic sees eternity. A distant wind hums through mountain valleys. The soft sound of a hammer striking stone. The rhythm of construction echoes, slow, deliberate. The Stoics believe the mind is a fortress, not a prison, not a cage, a stronghold, built stone by stone with every choice you make, every reaction you master, every thought you refuse to let in. Marcus Aurelius ruled armies and empires, but the kingdom he guarded most fiercely was invisible, the one inside. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Every day, life knocks at your gates. People will bring drama, insults, chaos. They will demand reactions, attention, validation. But the Stoic knows, not every knock deserves an answer. You must guard your attention like a gatekeeper guards a sacred city. Because where your attention goes, your peace follows. Ask yourself, who holds the keys to your mind? Is it the stranger on the internet? The coworker who gossips? The person who refuses to understand you? If they can pull you into anger or despair with a few words, then you are not free. Freedom begins when you stop giving your power to those who haven't earned it. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." He meant this quite literally. You cannot control what others say, think, or feel. But you can control what you give your energy to. That choice, moment by moment, shapes the walls of your inner fortress. Carl Jung wrote, "What you resist persists," meaning the more you fight the noise, the louder it gets. Instead of fighting every offense, every provocation, let them pass through. Let them echo against your walls and fade, because silence is not surrender. It is sovereignty. It's saying, I do not dance to every drumbeat around me. Plato taught that the body is the vessel of the soul, but what he meant extended beyond flesh. The mind itself is the vessel for your peace. So if you fill it with chaos, it spills chaos. If you fill it with clarity, it radiates calm. The Stoic trains this daily. They do not wake and check the world's noise. They wake and check themselves. Marcus began his mornings by preparing for conflict. He reminded himself, the people I meet today will be meddling. Ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. He didn't say this to grow bitter, but to grow ready. He understood that peace isn't something the world gives. It's something you bring into the world and protect. One of the quickest ways to lose your calm is by trying to fix everyone else's life. The Stoics warned against it, the illusion of control. You can advise, inspire, support, but you cannot command another's growth. You can't drag someone to clarity. You can only embody it. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That includes your urge to fix, to rescue, to micromanage. Every time you let someone's chaos dictate your peace, you hand over the keys to your fortress. So what do? You lead by example. You speak less but mean more. You show strength through composure. You stop measuring your peace by how others behave. When someone offends you, breathe. When someone misunderstands you, let them. When someone disappoints you, remember, you cannot lose what was never yours to control. Socrates said, "The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." That includes your mind. Build new patterns of peace. Build new reflexes of calm. Let your silence teach louder than your words, because you don't rise by reacting. You rise by remaining rooted. The Stoics called this living in accordance with nature, aligning your actions with reason, not emotion. They believed that clarity of mind was the highest virtue. So train your thoughts as you would soldiers, disciplined, obedient, loyal to truth. Do not let them wander into battles they cannot win. When the world calls you to chaos, stand still. When the noise tempts you, turn inward. Your mind, calm, aware, awake, is your temple. Guard it well. No one else will. And when storms come, as they always do, remember, it's not the fortress that fears the storm. It's the unguarded soul. But the mind built with reason and discipline can endure anything. Because the Stoic's peace isn't fragile. It's forged. You are not here to control the world. You are here to command yourself. That is the beginning of freedom. That is the fortress of the mind. Waves roll softly against ancient cliffs. A gull cries in the distance. The camera pans across a weathered journal resting on a marble table. Its pages flicker in the wind. When the wars end and the noise fades, what remains? After the lessons, the battles, the heartbreaks, what is left for the soul that has seen everything, lost everything, and still stands? The Stoics would answer with one word: stillness, not the absence of motion, but the presence of understanding. Marcus Aurelius called it living in agreement with nature. He meant the quiet strength that comes when you stop fighting what already is, when you stop begging the river to flow backward. Life does not bend to your will. People will not always see your worth. Fate will not always grant you what you think you deserve. But here's the truth. The peace you seek isn't lost in the chaos. It's buried beneath your resistance to it. Let go of that resistance, and peace returns like breath after drowning. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about those things. So look again at what you call suffering. Look again at what you call loss. What if they were not curses, but catalysts, teaching you how to live without fear?" Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every heartbreak, every failure, every disappointment, it was the polishing of the soul, the slow shaping of something immortal inside you. And so, the Stoic does not run from hardship. He bows his head to it and whispers, "You too are my teacher." There is a moment in every life when the fight ends. Not because you've given up, but because you've finally understood. You stop chasing control. You stop demanding that people behave, that fate be fair, that life be gentle. Instead, you breathe, and you see it all for what it is, the endless dance between gain and loss, between order and chaos, between creation and decay. This is not pessimism. It's liberation, because once you stop demanding that everything go your way, the world stops feeling like an enemy, and the calm you've been searching for finally sits down beside you, as if it was always waiting. Marcus once wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" He understood that acceptance isn't weakness, it's alignment. It's saying, I see what is, and I choose peace anyway. Acceptance is not surrender. It's mastery. It's knowing that the storm will come and still keeping your lamp lit. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That is the essence of stillness, not to erase the past, but to transcend it. You can't change what life gives you, but you can change what you make of it. The Stoic's heart is like the ocean. Storms churn the surface, but the depths remain calm. That depth is cultivated through awareness, humility, and gratitude. Gratitude, the final key, because nothing softens the soul like the simple act of seeing what remains instead of what is missing. When anger rises, remember something beautiful still exists. When fear whispers, remember something within you is stronger. When life disappoints you, remember that being alive at all is a miracle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't hanker after what you don't have. Instead, think of the blessings you do have and how much you'd miss them if they were gone." Gratitude is the bridge between chaos and peace. It reminds you that even pain carries purpose, that every breath is a gift, and that no storm lasts forever. Close your eyes. Listen to the sound of your own breath. It is the same breath that filled the lungs of emperors and slaves, philosophers and poets, warriors and dreamers. You are not separate from them. You are part of the same story, walking the same eternal path toward understanding. And when your mind is quiet, when judgment falls away, you'll realize something extraordinary. Peace was never a destination. It was your natural state waiting beneath the noise. The Stoics didn't aim to escape life. They aimed to live it fully without being enslaved by it. They didn't seek control. They sought clarity. And from that clarity came stillness. Not fragile, not fleeting, but eternal. So when the world tests you, as it will, remember this. You were not born to be ruled by storms. You were born to stand within them, calm, steady, unbroken. You were not meant to conquer others, but to conquer yourself. That is the highest power. That is Stoic freedom. That is the stillness beyond control.